So let's talk about Dune. I have tried to read this book a couple different times. I just couldn't get into it for whatever reason. I'm not sure if it's just the density of the plot, the number of characters, or any of that kind of stuff. But after having seen the movie, I made a pact with a friend of mine who saw it with me that, yes, we're going to read this book prior to the sequel. So seeing the movie actually got me more, I guess, motivated to go back and try to read the book. And that's a testament to how great this movie is. And so going into Dune, I didn't really have a ton of expectations other than I knew that I liked the directorial style of Denis Villeneuve. I'm going to correct that somewhere here with a note, probably. I know I totally mispronounced it, but Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of the past decade-ish, I think. Arrival was awesome, and so from a stylistic perspective, I was really excited about this. Hans Zimmer doing the music, great composer, done a lot of great stuff for Christopher Nolan, so I was excited about that too. So again, I sort of had, I think, vague notions that this was going to be sort of a sprawling space opera kind of thing. And it is that, but it's also a little more contained than you might expect it to be. But what it is, too, is very kind of Shakespearean, very almost kind of medieval with this whole sort of warring houses thing with sort of this umbrella empire that exists. And so these are things that are alluded to in this movie but aren't really explored in a whole lot of depth. But I think they probably are going to be in the second part, which has already been greenlit. I think 2023 is going to be the release for that one. But what is here is magnificent. It works exceedingly well. I was totally wrapped up in it. It is a long movie, and I don't remember the exact runtime. I want to say approaching 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I would be lying if I didn't say that there were a couple of times where I thought, it just feels like it's dragging a little bit. And it's hard to pinpoint, what I would suggest cutting out of it, because I think that everything that is there needs to be there. It's just that if you don't have that mindset going in that, this is going to be sort of a Lord of the Rings type of thing where it's going to take a while to sort of unfold and, to get sort of wrapped up in the plot and all of that kind of stuff, it could just feel a little bit long. But as it is, I had a great time with it. The villain in it, who I believe is played by Stellan Skarsgård, if I'm remembering correctly, Baron Harkonnen, I think, just great. Again, I would say in this first, part of this series, which is clearly going to become a thing. I don't know if it's a trilogy or whatever it's going to be. In the first part of this, at first it's almost kind of comical how villainous his character is. Maybe at first a little bit thinly sketched, but as the story goes on, it gets better in that regard and just really cool. And I saw an interview with the director where he talked about how he wanted to make this villain look like a rhino in human form, and that's exactly what you get here. It's really grotesque. He's almost kind of like a flying Jabba the Hutt, if you want to look at it that way, for any other Star Wars fans out there. Other things I liked about this movie, all of the characters, I think, are well written and make sense and don't feel ham-fisted or hammy or cheesy. I loved the sandworms in the movie. So I have this thing where I just enjoy sandworms as a fictional monster in movies. I did sort of a Twitter ranking of my favorite ones. I think the graboids from Tremors are still my favorite, but this kind of reminded me of Tremors in space, obviously with a much more operatic sort of feel to it. But I really had a great time with this movie. There isn't really a lot for me to find fault with here. Again, I would say that it's a little bit lengthier than some people might expect and at times can feel a little bit sluggish, but it's just a beautiful film to look at too, right? I mean, it's just one of those really kind of immersive things. And if you can see it in a theater, I strongly recommend doing that. It's on HBO Max, and I'm going to rewatch it on HBO Max, but if you have the ability to go to a theater and watch it in that venue, definitely worth the experience. I highly recommend it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Dune. If you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching.